Hi guys, Steiser here and I'm back with another drum reaction video. In this video we're going to talk about Mr. Gene Hoglan, also known as the Atomic Clock. He's a very active drummer. He played in many bands such as Death, Testament, Strapping Young Lads, dethklok, Opeth, and so on. The list does not end. It goes on and on and on. He's a very active and creative drummer. He's one of my idols, and this is a video of him playing The Philosopher by the Death. And without further ado, let's get to it. Here it goes. Alright, I noticed something cool, so let's talk about it. Usually when drummers want to choke the hi-hat cymbal, they press the pedal to close the hi-hats. But Gene didn't do this, and he hit the hi-hat cymbals, then choked it with his hand. And the reason he does this is he's playing double bass drums, so he can't afford the time to move his legs on the pedal and move it back again. So he chokes it with his hand. This is something cool, and I've never seen any drummer do this, so you can do it as well. And that's it. Let's go on. Feel what I feel. See what I see. Did you do it again? Hear what I hear. There is a language between your dream world and reality. Do you live my life or through the breath I breathe? Alright, let's talk about his drum set as usual. He's using pearl drums and Sabian cymbals. The thing that's cool on his drum set is he has two rights, one on his right and one on his left. And if you notice, their rights have huge bells, and Gene is a drummer who uses bells a lot, so his rights have huge bells. The other thing that got my attention is his hi-hat place. Usually drummers put the hi-hat very close to the snare so they can play like this. But since Gene is left-handed drummer, he puts it a little bit further and a little bit lower than usual. This is something cool, and the reason he does this is he's left-handed. If the hi-hat is somewhere like here, he has to move his hand a little back so the stick gets in the right position. But for Gene Hoglan, it's easier to move the hi-hat a bit further and a bit lower, so his hand doesn't move a lot and it's in the normal position that it should be. This is something you can do as well, and you should learn to do this. You can make modification to your drum set to make it easier for you to play. I see drummers put, I don't know, their cymbals or floor toms in other weird places, and it's a little bit hard for them to reach out to that cymbal or the floor tom. And this is something weird for me. I don't know why they do it. And you can do like Gene Hoglan to make your drum set very easy for you to play. This is something we can learn from him. And about his hands, he usually uses German grip, and on his legs he usually uses heel up technique. And that's about it. Let's go on. A little crossover pattern here. You can see that in this part he doesn't choke the cymbal with his hand. He does it with his pedal, like the most of drummers, and that's because he's not playing any double bass here. He is using single pedal on his right foot, and his other foot is on the hi-hat pedal. Let's go on. Alright, here's something I have to talk about his drum set, and it is his toms and floor toms. If you notice, they're a little bigger than usual, and they're low tuned. Usually drummers make their screws of their toms and floor toms so tight, so the rebound of the toms and floor toms are little bigger than usual. But Gene likes the low tuning, and I've seen an interview from him that he explains he tightens the screws with his hands. Usually drummers use drum keys, but he does it with his hands, and because of this he gets very low tuned toms, floor toms, and kick. And this is something very unusual because it's way harder to play on the loose drum heads because they don't have any rebounds, and you have to play everything with your ankles. But the low tuning is crazy and I love it. Let's go on. Your mind is not your own. What sounds mentally stimulating is how you make the choice. So you preach about how I'm supposed to be, yet you don't know your own sexuality. Lies, because it's been a mother's behold. How to find each other. Put on the bar. You know so much about nothing at all. Here's something I have to talk about, and it's something very important. He's a left-handed drummer, like I said, and usually his patterns start with his left hand. But the cool part and the important part is that everything he plays with his left hand, he can play it with his right hand as well. This is something that makes you way more creative to play a pattern both with right hand feed and left hand lead. And this is something you can do as well. It takes a lot of practice, but it gives you a lot of ideas on the fills and on some linear drumming patterns, and this is something very cool. He does it perfectly. Let's go on. Alright, the thing that I loved about this video, and especially this last part, is that he's so creative that he doesn't run out of ideas for his drum fills at all. If you notice this last part, every 2 bars he plays a drum fill, and every time it's something new. This is crazy, and it's all for just one song. And he doesn't run out of idea at all. Different patterns, different coordinations, and it's crazy. I've seen a lot of drummers when it comes to fill drums, they have at most 4 or 5 patterns in their mind, and that's it. But Jin not like that. He has too many ideas, and it's crazy. I just love it. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, which wasn't in this video, and I've noticed from the other videos that I watched from him, is that when it comes to his playing double bass, he most usually uses ankle weights. This is something cool that makes it a little bit harder for you to play, and it's perfect thing for a warm-up. Even I've seen live performances from him, which he starts with leg weights, and after a couple of songs he takes them out and starts playing normally. This is something you can do as well. It gives you a lot of control, and it probably helps you to gain more speed and stamina. Alright, that's it. That's my reaction to Mr. Gene Hoglan, which I love him very much. Love his drumming, love his drum set, the modification he does, love his patterns, and so on. He's a very creative drummer, and that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. You can always suggest me drummers to react, and that's it. Stay tuned for the next video. Thanks.